So I've got my ivory piano keys boiling in water. The water turned white because they have titanium paint on the ivory keys, and it actually acts as a glue too and keeps it white. Come on, Ian, don't be rattling on the stove. Daddy's trying to make a video. So what you do is you boil them down, and it removes all the glue and all the titanium paint that's going to ruin your ink. And I'm going to change the water twice, and then I'll get back to you on how to blacken them and burn them without causing them to turn to ash, and to make a nice set of ivory ink. Might be morally wrong that hundreds of elephants died to make ivory keys, but you might as well make something out of them. So as you can see, there's my ivory keys, and the glue, wood, and remaining cloth that was on them is separated. And I will boil them one more time to make sure that there's no titanium paint inside there, because that will make your black pigment turn into white, because it only takes about a drop of that titanium white. The reason they put it on there is that these keys are almost see-through. So when they put the titanium on the back side, it shines white forever, unless they get really stained beyond belief. But 100 years old, and they'll stay white on a piano as long as they have the titanium backing, but it's not what we're looking for when we're making ink. So now what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to get a tin can. You want to poke a little teeny tiny hole in the lid, and I use a safety can opener, one of the ones that cut the rim instead of cut the top, so you can put the top back on. And I burnt off all of the residue that was on the inside of the can, because they're like plastic lined, and I don't want that to contaminate my ink. It's just like making char cloth. And by the way, when you bring it to a boil, you only let it boil for about 2 minutes with the keys in there. I'm going to stick them all in there wet, because that's what I have that little hole for. It's going to let the steam escape. So you're going to load it all up with your ivory, pop you a lid on there, and wire it down to make sure it doesn't come off. Then you're going to stick it back on the stove, preferably outdoors, because it's going to stink a whole lot. Leave it on there for about 30 minutes on a low heat until no smoke comes out the top of there. That little hole there will stop smoking. That means it's done. You turn the fire off, and you let it come all the way down to a cold temperature, because if you open it up right away while it's hot, it'll burst into flames and it'll burn it, and you're not going to get what you're looking for. I'm not sure if you could see that too well, but where the hole's at is a little flame burning, because the gas is so hot and it's got something in there, it just lights on fire. So I tipped it over on its side and turned the heat up. It's been 30 minutes, so let's see if that will burn it off, because it still stinks like hell. Alright, now this is the most important part. If you don't do this correctly, you might as well just there we go. Now that that's taken care of, get down to business. It's all cooled down. Open it up. And then spill it out. So there we have it. Perfect. You can actually see the grain on that. So all the ivory is now black. Little bits and specks of gray. You can see the gray shining just a little bit, but as you can see, perfectly brittle, black as night, ready to go. All that's left to do is stick it in there and grind and grind and grind and grind and grind until it's all a perfectly fine powder. Now that is probably going to make a lot of ink. Should last a while. Now the only problem is that you can't send it in the mail anywhere out of the state that you're living in, because it's a felony and they prosecute you because you're transporting ivory over state lines. Now this is 100 years old, perfectly legal to have it and to use it and to sell it within the state you're residing. But the minute that you decide you're going to do anything else with it, like write a letter and send it to somebody over in, let's say, Florida, for example, look at the beautiful grain on that. You're now committing a felony and you will be prosecuted. So it's best to keep for your own personal enjoyment and those residing within the state you're living in.